as I was preparing for this show, I was on IGN's website and watching a couple of trailers and videos and stuff, which means that I didn't have my usual armor against advertisements of YouTube Premium. So the videos on IGN's site are like notorious for having a bunch of ads on them. And the ad that I pulled was for McDonald's, which normally I'd be like, okay, fine, that's fine. But McDonald's, I don't know if you've been getting like the emails and like the ads and all this stuff. They're doing this thing right now with the Grandma McFlurry. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't need the ads because I'm basically there at least every other day. Let me tell you, they're pushing it in the app and in store as well. Jeez. Yeah, no, I don't. Listen, what is it? A butterscotch McFlurry? Is that what this is?
That's the thing. There's no way to know. Like, it doesn't say like, try the Grandma McFlurry. It's butterscotch and whatever. It's like, try the Grandma McFlurry. It reminds you of grandma. And it's like, I don't know. That's not like a distinctive enough like description for me, other than I suppose like, yeah, butterscotch.
I think it's butterscotch based on just what I see and what I hear, but you're right. I don't actually know. And there's been no way to confirm that. But yeah, no, I think they were like, well, let's do butterscotch. Maybe there's a surplus of butterscotch right now. They're like, how are we going to market this? Like, I don't know, make it grandma.
Yeah, it's really weird. It did have at the end of the little video ad, it did have the McDonald's logo as if it was like knitted or like done in like a doily, like with the little like stitching around
cool.
the side.
I like that.
It was like a cute little like clever tie-in. But man, I was just like, why McDonald's? Why? This doesn't seem to be the right call. Did you notice and pay attention to their anime crossover in like January, February?
I did, and I actually, let me tell you, really, no, that was not the one I liked the sauces for. But yes, I did pay attention a little bit. I didn't really dig in too deep, but I mean, I saw the ad, and what was it, McDonald's instead?
Yeah.
Some crossover or something.
Yeah, and they changed, like, I was in a McDonald's during that time period, and they were like showing little like anime like clips or whatever on the menu board. Like,
on the video screens. Yeah.
They would have like pictures of like hamburgers all zoomed in. And this one, they had like the anime of their little fake marketing campaign, which I thought was really interesting and kind of cool. Like, I actually liked that one, but I didn't try the sauce, I don't think. But I did not prefer this grandma thing.
No, this grandma thing's weird. And it's just McFlurries. I don't know if they're trying to boost sales on McFlurries or what, but it's not working for me. No.
I mean, isn't the whole point that like the ice cream machine never works at McDonald's? So how can you get a McFlurry anyway?
Yeah, exactly. Although I have noticed that they have been working more often lately, but no, I don't know if they improved that or did something, but the anime one was really cool. The one they did before that was, I don't know, some kind of, they had like a sauce challenge. Whichever one like was purchased more was going to get added as a permanent sauce or something. That has not happened yet. So I don't know, but I really, that let me tell you, that promotion, they had spicy sweet jam or something.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Spicy jam or something. Oh god, it was so good. I love that. That was good sauce. I always try the nugget sauce. You gotta try it once, and if you don't like it, you just go back to what you know and like.
I should branch out a little bit, I guess. I'm a sweet and sour person for my nugget sauce myself.
And if you actually get to go in and talk to someone, like when they give you your food, you could just ask for it and they just throw another one in.
That's true. Yeah, I usually go through either the drive-through or like the pickup thing. I think we talked about it on the show, but my like McDonald's close to the office has like completely like drywalled over the spot that used to be the self-service drink station. Like, it is gone.
So no refills anymore?
Well, no, you can go to the counter and get a refill from the little soda machine behind the counter, but like you can't do it. You have to ask somebody to do it for you. But like they used to have like a spot where it was clear that like there used to be a soda machine there, but now it's like completely reconfigured and there's a wall there where there used to be a little alcove for the soda machine.
I don't want this to be like a hate on corporate America, but like McDonald's is losing touch. They're losing touch with like who they're expensive. They're not personal. Like, I don't know that McDonald's was ever personal, but like there's like a certain like minimum level of like I get to talk to someone and like they hand me my food, and it's not like, like, yes, McDonald's has always been very like what do you call it? Like efficient, right? It's always been like very like conveyor assembly line kind of thing, which is fine. But at the end of the day, like you spoke to someone, like someone took your order, and like they're supposed to be nice and kind and whatever, like the all of the basics of customer service. But like it's expensive. There's no free refills. Really? You're going to get rid of that? Like I don't know. I draw the line somewhere, and I think that's where the line is for me.
Oh, I don't think. I mean, it's not that they're disallowing free refills. It's just that they're strongly discouraging them.
No, they're let's be clear about it. Yes, they're discouraging them, and there are plenty of articles out there that are saying that the strategy of McDonald's is to move away from interactions or like necessity to like do refills, talk to people, like all of the things that we're talking about. It is beyond a doubt in my mind that they are moving towards getting rid of free refills.
I don't like that. I don't have much else to say about it other than I don't like that.
I think it's coming. It's coming. It's going to be here. For now, they're going to say, yeah, sure, let me refill that for you. But like in 4 years, when the transformation across America is complete to drywall over all of the refill stations, they're going to say, we don't do refills anymore. You can't get a refill.
I think they'll always let you do it if you can flag down a person, which will be increasingly more difficult as the stores are reconfigured to be less human interaction centric.
Yeah, and then I'll go to Wendy's.
Well, there you go. Where they still have a freestyle machine in the lobby.
Exactly. Welcome to Pride and Accomplishment. My name is Jason.
And I'm Chris. This is episode 128.
I have follow-up.
I think I do too.
This is rare for me. Oh, maybe you do too. Okay. This is rare for me because typically, the season 2 weeks, I don't play the same game episode to episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But in this particular case, I do have follow-up. Last time we talked about Hades and you were playing Hades 2. And I am happy to say that on my, I think it was 18th run, I did finally get my first win and completion and defeat of Hades, the final boss of Hades. And I surprisingly did not do it with the shield as I had predicted.
Yeah, I was actually, like, you were on Discord and you were streaming and I was there when you did it. And I was surprised you weren't using the shield.
Like I said, I always try to use the thing that's like, that gives the extra darkness, I think it's 20% boost to darkness. Mm-hmm. And it forces a little bit of variety in my play and keeps it interesting a little bit. But I always go into the non-shield runs just being like, okay, I'll get as far as I can. Like the goal for me in the non-shield runs is to get the the special resources that you get from killing bosses with different weapons.
Right.
That's always my goal in those runs, is just to like get more of that. But I took out I think they were the fists, right? The fists, the hand weapons.
Yeah, it was the punchy ones. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I kept going, and I had a really good build. I think I had really good luck with boons that run, and didn't really use up any of my death defieds, and made it all the way to the end. I was really excited about it. And I think it was my 18th or 19th run. So somewhere just before 20. But I am excited. I'm honestly genuinely pumped to do more.
Nice. Yeah. Once you like prove that you can do it, then now it's like, oh, cool, I can try this again. And I know it's possible. Yeah.
I'm ready. Like, and I think I can do it with other weapons, and I'm ready to do it again. And I'm genuinely like, so at this point I am like past the part where I know what's going to happen, because I kind of watched someone beat Hades for the first time. So I kind of like, it was a long time ago, but like, I remember kind of that feeling of the first time and getting, spoiler alert for Hades, if you haven't played it yet, like he's trying to find his mother. Spoiler alert, he finds his mother. But anyway, like you have to do it a number of times to get the full story. Like, you have to keep doing it over and over again, and to get more and more of the story. And I am like so ready for more story. Like I want to do it again.
Yeah, it is actually, it's an amazing like story driven roguelike. We've talked about this before. I think we talked about it last episode, but like they drip feed you that story like little by little. And every time you can get back through to the end, like you get a little more of the story. And it's really cool how they manage to tell a story in, 2 sentences at a time. And you kind of remember what's going on, and you like keep it all together in your head and like, oh yeah, okay, so we're trying to get here so that we can do this and whatever. And then they also have to, figure out like ways to like, why are you going to fight Hades now? Like, how does this, like, why? Like, what's the driving factor? Why is he still there? Like, what's happening? So that all even comes into play and stuff as you go. So you'll see that at some point.
Yeah, there's still areas of the house that I haven't unlocked yet. And like there's a gate that I think opens, and there's a door that very clearly is interactable but currently says locked. So I'm ready. Like I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep playing Hades. Nice. I think it continues to be my go-to game.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Hades 2. We actually were sitting in Discord, I think that same time. You were playing Hades 1, I was playing Hades 2. So we were playing like single player games independently at the same time in Discord, which was kind of funny. But then at that point, I got to the end. I got to the last boss. I was fighting the last boss. I was streaming. You were watching. And then I couldn't do it, which was, I thought I finally had it, but like we were, it was so close, then I didn't have it. But I will say that on 2 days ago, which was 2 days after we played, I think, I did manage to get to the end, and I beat the final boss of Hades 2.
Oh, no kidding. Okay, yeah. So I didn't see it.
You didn't see it, but I did it. And then yesterday, so the next day, I came back and I was like, oh, I'll try, the prestige round or whatever with the same weapons, because I really have not branched out on the weapons on Hades 2. I've been kind of mainlining one particular weapon. And so I did like the first level of, they call it fear. I don't remember what they call it in Hades 1, but it's heat. Like the thing, heat. There you go. Yeah. So I did the thing with the first level of fear with a relatively easy modifier, and was able to get all the way to the end and beat the final boss again. So like twice in a row, which I was very surprised at, because I didn't think I had a super great, build the second time round. So I guess now I'm just good at this game now. I don't really understand it.
Well, hey, once you learn the telegraphs and you start to learn all the enemies and what they do and what their timings is, this game gets significantly easier, as roguelikes should, when you learn how the game works. And this game is a perfect example of that. The enemies, the final bosses, whatever. I love in Hades 1, I don't know about Hades 2, one of the things in Hades 1, one of the heat modifiers, is that bosses and maybe other enemies gain a new move. And that just throws off the whole telegraphing, right? It just throws off what you know and what you expect and what the timing is. And it's just so cool that is one of the modifiers.
Yeah, that is really cool. I think the one that I did in Hades 2 was that every enemy had a 10% chance of being from the next level, like the next world or whatever. You know how there's like 4 like regions. Mm-hmm. And so it was like every enemy that spawned had a 10% chance to be from the next region, which was kind of just a weird like non sequitur in your brain where you're like, wait a minute, that thing doesn't belong in this biome, and they get harder, right, as they go. And it's also clear that the levels are designed sort of around the enemies that you face. And so when they're pulling enemies in that are, one whatever region too soon, then you notice, and it's harder. Like, I didn't think it was going to be a big deal. I was like, oh, it's just more stuff to kill. But like, the passageways are narrower, or it's not quite configured the right way to like be able to get out of the way of something. And that was a really interesting modifier that I thought was going to be easy, and then turned out to be a little bit more of a pain than I expected.
Yeah, that's a cool one. It also gets harder because the enemy variety in a room is what I find sometimes the most difficult. Because when, so the skulls are in both games. The skulls have the same attack. They charge up and then they kind of rush towards you, right? When you have 100 skulls in the room, you can just kite them around the room. It's easy. Mm-hmm. Like you whatever. But when you have skulls combined with the laser guys, like running around the room is not always the best strategy anymore because of the enemy variety. I could see that modifier that you mentioned, if you get someone in the room, that kind of throws off the whole enemy variety. it could get really difficult really fast.
Yeah, it messes with your flow.
Absolutely. So you've beaten it twice now. How have you any indication of like, so you've beaten, and we talked about this last time, you've beaten the base like underground like set of levels twice now.
Yep.
Have you attempted any more of the other other paths?
I tried the other path that you can do that has other regions and things. I've done that a couple times. I believe that is not finished, because when you finish the underground, right, when you finish the main line, I guess you could call it, they actually pop up a little like, hey, you did it screen with like a bunch of words on it, and it says like, thanks for doing this, you can play more, try again. Also you can kind of do this other path, but please be patient with us, we're still working on it, see how far you can get. And I think it just kind of ends in like a gauntlet, like just rooms after rooms after rooms of just like forever escalating difficulty until you die kind of a thing. So you can get resources, but you can't like finish the other path because it's not coded yet. Like they're not done with the game because it's early access.
Gotcha.
Still super polished, but like they just have come up with I think a clever way to mask the fact the game's not done. But there's still a ton of story in Hades 2, and I think there are still a bunch of things to unlock, which I'm looking forward to. There's one particular unlock. I don't remember if I talked about this, and I hope it's not too much of a spoiler for Hades 2, but the main boss in Hades 2 is Kronos, the Titan of Time, right? Which you find out like immediately when the game starts. So that's not a spoiler. But one of the interesting things is that you can't pause when you're fighting him, because he's like, I'm time itself. You can't pause time and whatever. I don't know. It's a clever gimmick the first time, and then it gets really annoying after that. Because you like literally cannot pause the game to like do anything else while you're fighting the final boss, which is not fun if you have like a real life thing that comes up and you've got to like put the controller down for a second. So there's actually an unlock that you can get to allow you to pause during the final boss, which is kind of gimmicky, but kind of clever, I guess.
I like that. I think they have to think of ways to really throw curveballs at you. And I like that one.
It's, yeah.
I know it's annoying that you can't pause during the final boss, but I would say I very rarely pause during when I'm playing Hades, unless I'm just going to quit out. And if I was on the final boss, I'm not quitting out.
Well, of course not. Yeah. And if you did like quit before it ended, it wouldn't save. So you'd be at the beginning of the final boss again. Like if you alt F4 out of the game, then I guess you'd be there. But I think if you alt tab, it also just kind of like de facto pauses the engine, potentially. But I've not tried that because I've been, like fighting the final boss.
I like that though. That I mean, it's clever. It's fun.
It's an in-world like tie-in to the game, fourth wall, blah blah. Yeah, I know. I
want to see what the voice lines are when that happens, though.
Yeah, you gotta get there. You gotta do it. It's good.
Anyway, who would have thought that Hades would be my game of choice? When did it come out? Like 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
Jason's game of the year, Hades.
Yeah, game of the year 2024. That's all right. That's typical for me. God of War's Ragnarok is only 2 years old at this point.
Hades came out early access in December of 2018 and
oh boy,
was officially released in 2020, I think. And then it came to consoles in 2021.
4 years, yeah. Game of the year, 2024.
Well, anyway, I highly recommend that you play Hades 2, but you should play a lot more Hades 1 first.
We are coming up on a bunch of things in the next couple of weeks in terms of video game announcements. However, the one thing that has already happened is the PlayStation State of Play, where, Sony and PlayStation did their like E3 type announcement. Is that fair to say, Chris?
Yeah, they took the May 30th slot, the beginning, like the first slot of this whole thing, to do a State of Play featuring upcoming, PS5, PSVR, whatever games. And I don't know, I didn't like sit down and watch the whole thing, but I've read some recaps and I kind of, looked at some of the details, and I'm not super impressed.
I was not super impressed either. I have to say, like, from a very, very, very high level, kind of didn't watch the whole thing, but did, kind of get some recaps of it. I have a feeling that PlayStation is going through some like introspection right now. They're just trying to find like, what are we supposed to be doing? What is this what is the video game market right now? Where do we need to be heading? Where do we need to be going? And I think it's showing a little bit in like what's coming out, what's being planned, what they're announcing, what their kind of like momentum is. And it like the momentum feels really jolty right now. Like, oh, we're going this direction. No, we're going this direction. No, we're going, because if you remember last year, the whole thing was all about live service games. And then they had like a bunch of like false starts on live service. And then they had Helldivers. So like, I don't think they know what's going on, because I certainly don't know what's going on. So I think that's, I don't know. To me, that's what's like, I'm not saying that any announcements were bad. I'm just saying that a lot of it feels incohesive. Do you feel that way? Is that what you felt, or is it something different?
I think what I'm feeling right now is that they don't have any announced major franchise in progress. Like, I'm sure that they've got people working on stuff, but like, it didn't feel like they have there's no God of War coming. There's no Uncharted. There's no Horizon. There's no Last of Us. Like, what is their next like big franchise thing? And I think we're going to talk about it in a minute, of the closest thing they have, but it's not like something's waiting for a big like quadruple A Sony single player game, right? They, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is out. Like, I guess Grand Theft Auto is the next thing, but that's not a Sony exclusive. Like, GTA 6 coming like next year is the next big thing. But it just doesn't feel like there's anything that's like so major on the horizon that's like makes you be like, yeah, I'm so glad I have a PS5.
Yeah, and I would say that that's because they don't know what to put the money behind, right? They're not gonna, I don't know, they don't feel like they've put a ton of money behind the next God of War is not ready, right? Whatever it is, I'm sure there's something, but it's just not ready to announce yet. The next are they doing another Horizon? I don't know. Maybe. Those are their like big, like flashy franchises. And none of them are there yet. They all had major releases here recently. And I think we talked about this quite a few episodes ago. Maybe it was last year's, where like a ton of Sony stuff just came out, right? A ton of PlayStation, like big flashy PlayStation exclusives came out in 2023, I think 2022, 2023. You had Spider-Man, you have, Horizon Zero Dawn, or Horizon Forbidden West. Sorry. Mm-hmm. You had God of War Ragnarok. You had like just a bunch of these really big PlayStation exclusives, big franchises, and they're all either the next big one is still in development and way too early to announce. And they don't have like their timeline is off. And I think this was caused by COVID, right? Like some things getting delayed and then other things coming kind of on time or whatever. And it feels like right now there's a huge lull in, okay, well, what's the big thing that makes me need to get a PlayStation? And the answer is right now, I don't think there's anything.
Right. It's if you want to play the things that are still PlayStation exclusive, like, Spider-Man 2, for instance, go for it. Right. That's a reason to have a PlayStation, or Final Fantasy Rebirth. Right. That's another one that I think isn't on PC yet. But they've got a couple things in the works. I forgot they've got the Wolverine game that was announced like a couple years ago that is presumably still in work but not ready yet, which is fair. I don't want them to ship it early. It's just a matter of like they've got kind of this hole in their schedule. And so there seems like 2024 they're just kind of like taking a year off, and that's probably fine in the macro world of the gaming landscape, because I'm not sure that anybody else has anything going on, but I guess we'll know that better in a few weeks. But
no, I mean, console sales are cratering across the industry. Xbox is down like 30%. I think PlayStation, Sony just like reduced their estimates by 20% for the year. Like they're cratering. Like no one is buying a console right now, comparatively.
Well, anybody who wants one already has one, probably.
Already has one, or is switching to PC, or is, buying a Switch instead.
Bad choice right now.
Because I know it's bad choice right now, or they're saving for the Switch 2, or, there's been rumors of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Like no one is buying a PlayStation right now.
No.
That's a hyperbole, but less people are buying a PlayStation right now.
I think they said they had a report in the last couple of weeks that was like the PS5 is just now hit what the PS4 sales were or something, and it's like a year or two behind the PS4. And a lot of people are like keeping their PS4s and still playing on them.
Yeah, I think the adoption has been slower in this. I also have a feeling that is a little bit to do with the production problems in the first couple of years.
True.
But I mean, people are saying we're at kind of the midpoint of the PS5's lifespan, and it does not feel that way.
But do you think it feels like the end?
No, it feels way too early to be at the midpoint. Like the adoption hasn't gotten there yet. We were still getting games coming out for PS4 like a year or two ago. Like it doesn't seem like they've fully committed to the PS5 yet. I don't know. It just feels like they're like, oh, they're kind of at the midpoint. It's time for a PS5 Pro. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, are we here already? Like, I just feel like we haven't truly adopted the PS5 yet. And like the sales have kind of shown that, and the like adoption has shown that. But maybe again, going back to like, what is their plan? Like what is going on with all of this? Like, I don't know. What does this all mean for the industry? And I will use this as an opportunity to transition to say, PlayStation during this kind of, I don't know if it was specifically during the state of play or if there was some like ancillary announcements, but they basically said the part that we were all thinking out loud. I think last year during the state of play or whenever. I'm pretty sure it was last year because they announced a bunch of stuff like the foam stars and all of that. And a lot of it was coming to PC and to PlayStation. And you and I on this podcast, and basically everyone, speculated the same thing that said, okay, well, the play here is to put live service games on PC and PlayStation at the same time because that's what drives revenue for live service is more players.
Right.
And to put all of the single player games on PS5 first and then bring them to PC later. So they could either they double dip if they want to, or, still have those exclusives for PlayStation 5. Like that's the play. Well, they basically said that. Like they basically just straight up said that in this latest round, where they said single players, PlayStation 5 first, they'll come to PC at a later time. Live service games. I wish I had the quote in front of me, but like almost word for word said live service games are going to be simultaneously released on both platforms. And we were like, duh, you basically announced that a year ago, but now like they've actually said it. So again, like now that they're even saying that, like when Marathon comes out from Bungie, right? Bungie's next big thing. I don't know. Is it taking the place of Destiny? Who, no one really knows, but like if it's a live service game, it's coming out on PC. So we beg the question even more. Like 4 years ago, when P&A started, we were like, there's no reason to get an Xbox because everything on Xbox is on PC.
Right.
We're starting to move that direction we're not there, but we are starting to move that direction with PlayStation as well.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. And we can have this debate at a later time, maybe. But I still think that there are things that it is fun to sit in front of a TV and play a game on. And I don't think that the PC on TV experience is quite there yet to replace the dedicated hardware console experience for certain kinds of single player games for me. And we've had this conversation before, but I still kind of think that is the case for me for certain kinds of games.
I'll agree with you. I'm not saying that it's gone. I'm just saying that like PlayStation 5 was the big holdout in terms of like there was still a reason to own a PlayStation 5 as a console, and it was still a better experience. I believe over the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to start to see that transition even more to PC only.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. I'm okay with that.
And I think you're going to have Steam lean into it. I think Steam is going to like revitalize their big picture. I think you're going to see like more. I think you're going to see more and more leaning into PC being the only thing you need.
I'm good with that. I mean, as long as like if they stratify it such that if they still want to make consoles, I mean, I'm assuming that consoles still exist. You say, okay, the console hits the $500 or less price point, and then you want to go crazy. You get a PC that costs, $1,500, $2,000, like, soup it up with a big graphics card, get all the storage you want, and, componentize it all piece by piece, and, really soup it up and do the gamer RGBs and all that stuff. and that becomes, and everything is on either of those things, then so be it, right? I'll take that. I will probably just focus around PC, I think. Although, again, my best TV is not anywhere close to my PC. But that being said, yeah, it could go that way. It could, and I'd be okay with that. I'd be a little sad, but I'd be okay with that. But then why would anyone, why does both Xbox and PlayStation have to exist at that point if everything is still on PC?
I don't know, because there's still a market for it. I still think there's an international market for consoles. I think we've I think they exist elsewhere. I still think there's a market for consoles. I think both Xbox and PlayStation have plainly said that there's still a market for consoles. But I think both companies are starting to understand that like the long-term play has to include PC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Xbox has been there for a while. And really what we're seeing here is like PlayStation saying, yeah, we kind of said it last year, but we're definitely saying it now. The long-term play has to include, I mean, look at Helldivers. Helldivers sold way more on PC than it did on PlayStation, is a wild success. And they don't know what to do with it, right? We're going to require a PSN account. Oh, wait, no, we're not. We can't do that. There's an international market that can't even sign up for PS. Like they backtrack that. They don't know how to do it yet,
right.
But they're saying that it is important to the future of PlayStation.
Along those lines, they announced God of War Ragnarok is coming to PC finally. So I forget what that was. What was it? 2021-ish, 22? I don't know.
22, 21, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, whenever it was, I think it was 22. Anyway, doesn't matter.
November 22. Yeah.
Yeah. So it came out in November of 22. It's going to come out, I think, this fall for PC. So that's like 2 years later. I played it through on PS5. You are somewhere in the middle of it on PS5.
Playing it on PS5.
Still playing? Actually still playing?
Present tense. Sure. Yeah. I'm in the middle of it.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so that's coming, but they did say, and I don't really understand why, but they did say that it's going to require a PSN account to have God of War Ragnarok, which is interesting.
Yeah. They just, I don't know. They're leaning into this like, hey, you have to have a PSN account to play PlayStation games, even though you don't need a PlayStation launcher. Like a lot of the times you require other accounts, like say an EA account, because when you launch the game on Steam, it launches the EA Origin launcher, and that obviously requires an account to authenticate. But like God of War Ragnarok is going to be sold on Steam. You don't need a PlayStation launcher on your computer to play the game, but you'll still require a PSN account. This is a perfect example of like, they don't understand the PC market and they don't really understand PC games, because I think that's gonna, I mean, it really made a lot of people mad in terms of Helldivers, and they walked it back, right? It's not required anymore. They kind of push you that direction, but you can still skip it. But that, I mean, it eliminates God of War Ragnarok from 200 countries because you can't sign up for a PSN account. Therefore, it can't be sold in those countries. So it just, I don't know. I'm not going to dig too deep into it. It's dumb. Like, I understand, like, oh, you want to link it to your PSN account? We'll give you all these goodies if you link it to your PSN account. Like, you'll never lose access or whatever it is. Like, a lot of things that, like, could entice you to link it to your PSN account. I would do it in a second. No problem for me, but I understand that a lot of people don't want to or can't. And I don't know. I think they're trying to boost their PSN numbers. They're trying to boost their marketing, pool. They're trying to do all of those things that like corporate companies like to do on owning the customer. And they don't like, Sony doesn't see that in this particular case. You don't like, that's, I don't know. You don't need to own the customer to make more sales. You need to put out good games on platforms where people are playing to make sales. Like, I don't know. I don't see, I see a lot of like buzzwordy kind of like we need to boost our PSN account numbers rather than, or instead of like, just put out good games on platforms where people are playing and you will make sales. Like, that's like, I don't know. It's not that hard.
As you were talking, I was thinking what could sweeten the pot for some of that. And like, I came up with one thing, and then I kind of evolved it into what they would probably actually do, where like if I logged in with my PSN account, if I bought God of War Ragnarok on PS5, which I have, right, and bought it digitally specifically on PS5, then if I well, maybe I don't have it digitally, but anyway, if I have it digitally, I'm just, for the hypothetical, make me log in with my PSN account and have a PlayStation launcher and let me pay, I don't know, maybe $10 more or something to get the PC version, right? You got my money. I bought this game. I'm not going to buy it again for full price on PC. I'm just not. But it would be nice if I could play it on my PC if I so chose, and I'll give you a little bit of extra money to do that.
Yeah, I'd pay you $10 or $15. Yeah.
What I realized that what they should actually do is they should say, if you have probably the middle tier of PlayStation Plus and you have this game purchased on PS5, we'll give it to you on PC for free. Like, that would be an enticement to get the subscription of PlayStation Plus, which mine is about to expire from when I bought it 2 years ago before the price increased. I'm not renewing it because it's $70 a year now or whatever it is, and it's absolutely not worth it to me for the amount of online play I do on a PlayStation, which is almost none. So it's like, there are ways you could do the business model here so that you could make it more interesting to make me give them more money, kind of a thing. Because I would try it. Like, I would try God of War Ragnarok on my PC, even though I beat it. Like, I would like to try it with my 4090, just see how that goes. Like, it would be cool, but I'm not going to pay another $70 or $60 or whatever to rebuy this game that I already have on the PS5.
Yeah. See, what I would do in your scenario, you've already beaten it. I think you've played a lot of Valhalla, but say you haven't played Valhalla. Can you imagine a scenario where you link your PSN account, you get it for $10, $15, even $20? Like, honestly, like even $20 on PSC, I would probably consider it. Wait for it to go on sale or something like that. Like, I'd probably consider $20 and play Valhalla on your PC because you can cross save because your PSN account is linked.
Exactly.
Right? Like, that's the, like, if they don't offer those kind of features and require you to link your PSN account, I'm just going to be like, it's just a whatever. I don't know. Again, though, they're not looking for people like you. In my opinion, they're not looking for people like you who already have an active PSN account. They're looking for all of the new players that they're not currently reaching to create a PSN account, to boost their monthly active users, to say, oh my gosh, look, we're growing the platform. We have all these new emails that we can market to. I think that that's what they're thinking in their head. And it just doesn't compute for me. Like, that is not a long-term strategy.
No.
Anyway, PlayStation commitment to PC, God of War Ragnarok coming to PC. Great. That's a lot of PC, but can we talk about like actual game or I don't know, the only one that I was really excited about, and I think the only one that you were really excited about based on the show notes, that is new and coming to PlayStation?
Yeah. We should definitely talk about this one. They announced a new Astrobot game coming to PS5 this September.
Astrobot is the game that you got kind of as the demo with your PS5, right? That was the like demo game that you like, I don't know, was pre-installed or whatever, and like was just like, it's super fun, super casual, kind of a puzzle game a little bit, but really not even a puzzle game, just like a tech demo of the PS5 controller. Am I remembering that right?
It was the tech demo of the PS5 controller. It's a 3D platformer, not really that puzzly. It was more just platforming, but with a lot of clever little game mechanics and stuff. It was more of like a tech demo, like a playground almost. I mean, it was called Astro's Playroom, so there you go. And it stars Astrobot and all of these other little bots, which first made their appearance on, I think, the PSVR as like a demo / tutorial for that platform. So they have a long history of these things. They're coming out with this game, which seems to be a completely standalone game. I'm assuming it will cost money. They've said it has over 80 levels with 6 galaxies. So that's kind of exciting.
Oh, so bigger.
Yeah, it's like a full game. And it seems to still be all like very like PlayStation centric. Like they showed in the trailer, they showed like the Astrobot holding onto a rocket ship that's shaped like a PS5 controller, which was kind of clever. And at some point they showed like a giant obelisk that you unearth, and it's like the guts of a PS5, which is kind of cool, like a PS5 with the shells removed.
That's cool.
So yeah, I mean, it's like still, celebrating PlayStation. They showed a lot of Easter eggy things with the different games and stuff, and those are always my favorite part because I'm a sucker for a good Easter egg. But it looks like just more Astrobot, and I think that's going to be awesome.
Do you think it'll be a full price game?
No, I think it's going to be no more than $40 is what I would expect.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like it doesn't have any voice acting, right? Which is fine. I mean, perfectly fine. It doesn't have any voice acting. It doesn't have like any real dialogue, I don't think. Like even like text. I think it's mostly just like gameplay and then clever little sight gags and stuff. Which, I mean, it's a smaller game. It could have a smaller price, and that would be fine.
Were there any other games during this that are even like I'm just scrolling through here, the recap, and none of it really kind of jumps out to me as something else that I don't even want to use the word excited. I'm like not even interested in.
The one that kind of piqued my interest a little bit was the Marvel Rivals thing. Which is also coming to PC. Today it was announced, or that day it was announced for PS5. But like, they are doing like a team-based PvP shooter thing with the Marvel IP. So that might be kind of cool, maybe. But other than that, I mean, I didn't see anything that was particularly great. I don't really care about Dynasty Warriors. I guess that's another thing that if you like that kind of game, a new Dynasty Warriors would be exciting. But it doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, there's just nothing else on this list that I'm like, oh man, yeah, let's try that. And so that's disappointing, but fine. That's fine. I've got a PC. Maybe I just need to finally pull the trigger on a nicer PC, and that'll just be that'll be that. I mean, I hate to be such a Debbie Downer on it, but I think this is probably the last console the last non-Nintendo console I'll ever buy.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, I never really was in the market for, but I'm definitely not in the market for a PS5 Pro at this point. Like,
yeah,
the PS5 is fine, and my PC is also really good, so I'm good.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about a little bit of the other stuff coming up after the show. But PlayStation State of Play was the only thing that's happened so far. But a ton more on the horizon. If you would like to tell us what you're excited about from the PlayStation State of Play, let us know. You can join our Discord by going to discord.pnapodcast.com.
If you want to find any of our older episodes or read our show notes, you can visit our website at pnapodcast.com. That's P, the letter N, the letter A, podcast.com.
If you're enjoying the show, we'd love if you could share it with some others that might enjoy it as well.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.
We kind of have a jam-packed schedule this weekend, right? This coming weekend?
Is it? No, it's a week from this coming weekend. Like,
oh man, am I ahead of
this coming weekend as the show publishes?
Right. On June 7th is the Summer Games Fest. And then on June 9th is the Xbox Game Showcase. Somewhere else in there as well is the PC Gaming Showcase, which we are not watching this year.
Yeah, Sunday, June 9th. After the Xbox thing is the PC Gaming Show. And we're not going to sit through that again.
No, God, go listen to the last... Oh man, it must have been, I don't know, 26 or so
25,
episodes ago.
6, 7 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. Where we talked about, oh man, it's just so cheesy. And it's just not good. It's like that every year. And I remember last year, I think Chris, you and I were watching it and we're like, how long is this? Like, how long is this going to go on? And we were like, oh, it can't be more than like an hour and a half. And didn't it end up being like 3 hours?
It was 3 hours long. Yeah, it was just so much. And it was not enough good stuff. Like, not enough, like...
No.
It wasn't worth it.
Wasn't worth it. So we won't be watching that. However, I am excited, as always, for the Summer Games Fest. They always have some... I mean, Jeff Keighley is... What a guy. He's always got some good stuff. And then the Xbox Gaming Showcase... I don't know. I mean, obviously Call of Duty. There's been rumors about Call of Duty and Game Pass. So, you know what? I don't know. Maybe we could get like a week of our Call of Duty and then just move on with our lives without having to pay anything. which I am actually kind of excited for if that turns out to be true.
I do have some not bad news, but some news in that this November is when my 3 years of Game Pass comes up. So I'll have to actually cancel and start being choosy on my months for Game Pass coming up here.
I think that's reasonable, but at the same time, if you could pay $10 for the PC Game Pass, right?
True. PC only. Yeah.
And you would say, hey, $10 for COD for the whole month, and then you just wouldn't have to pay, that'd be it. You wouldn't have to pay $70 for a full price game
to play this game for a week. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. For a week. And we all know we're only going to play for a week. We all know. So $10 for a week to play together, fine. Okay. I could do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure.
So that's exciting. I think there's some other stuff going on with Xbox. I'm really excited. There's a lot of good stuff. Listen, I didn't follow E3 this close, but this is basically E3 time, right? That's what's happening.
Yes,
E3 isn't a thing anymore, and now everyone's just doing their own thing.
Yeah, E3 would have been this upcoming week or maybe next week. So it would be, this is the replacement for that, and it's gone into all these little piecemeal things, and there's not really a big trade show anymore, but IGN is trying to make something happen, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, all the publishers, all the major people are doing their thing. Sony doesn't seem to have another thing. They did that thing this past week that we just talked about, and they don't really have another option. And Nintendo famously also does not have anything announced. And I don't think they're going to do anything during this kind of 2-week period. But hopefully they do something maybe in July. I don't know. I need Nintendo to tell us something about the Switch too.
They're gonna announce it in July. Calling it now.
All right. You heard it here. Jason says Switch 2 announcement in July.